on Pan-African Television. We are also live on Facebook at Pan-African Television, also on YouTube at Pan-African Television. You can join in the conversation by sending in your views, comments, and contributions on our WhatsApp to text line displayed on the screen. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll make a time and read all those up for you. You can, of course, share the Facebook Live post. Those of you watching us on Facebook, share the Facebook Live stream for other people to also get an opportunity to watch tonight's edition of the program. My name is Justice Appiah, and tonight on Hot News, we are looking at the issue of culture of silence that has been raised by Mr. Sam Jonah, or Dr. Sam Jonah. President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, speaking at the University of Education, Winneba, says there is no culture of silence prevailing in the country under his administration, and there exists a vibrant media. And according to the president, quote, I find it ironic that the presidency of a man who has been and continues to be the most vilified political figure of his generation can be accused of presiding over a culture of silence. Now, let's go and listen to the president when he was speaking at the University of Education, Winneba, at a congregation in his honor. When we come back, I introduce my guest for the discussion to start. Let's go and listen to the president. We'll be right back.
That when people in government and all government policies are criticized, and there is a defense of the people of policies, it is intimidatory and leads to a culture of silence. A radio station is currently running a campaign against free SHS. During the last election, I got the clear impression free SHS had been endorsed by all political parties, and all we needed to do was to keep improving it. Would a spirited defense of the free SHS policy constitute an attack on press freedom? I wonder. It cannot be that everyone has a right of reply except members of the government and officialdom. Nor can it be that challenging an opinion expressed by a journalist constitutes an attack on press freedom. What I believe may be sorely lacking in our society today is the need to listen to each other more. Knowledge has never been a gift granted exclusively to one group. We must listen and hear each other more. And for me personally, I find it ironic that the presidency of a man who has been and continues to be daily the most vilified political figure of his generation can be accused of presiding over a culture of silence. There is no midnight knock on the door in Ghana for authors of dissenting views, nor will there be during my presidency.
That was President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo speaking at the University of Cape Coast. Well, the president said that there is no midnight knock on the door of Ghana for authors of dissenting views, nor will there be any during his presidency. That was according to President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So, under which circumstances are people saying that he is superintending over culture of silence in the country? I've been joined in the studio by Honorable Member of Parliament for Tamale Central Constituency. He prefers to be called a comrade, Comrade Murtala Mohammed. My brother, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight.
I appreciate.
Also in the studio is the third vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Chairman Michael Omari Wadie. Chairman, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for
It's been a while you've appeared on this platform.
Yes, you've abandoned me.
I haven't.
It's been jumping.
I haven't so far.
I've always told that every time you call, you know.
Exactly. That's very
and
true.
I don't disappoint.
Not at all.
Thank you. So if I don't, I can't just walk in here and...
You've been chopping.
Well, henceforth, I'll apologize and say henceforth. I mean, this platform, this is your home actually. And you know,
we are neighbors. You know.
In a run-up to your election as the third vice chair, I think we had a program here a day before the election, and we are so glad that you emerged, you know, as a winner
by the grace of God.
And we are hoping that greater things are yet to come. You know,
God.
As long as you live with you are with the New Patriotic Party.
God day.
Very well, and we'll pledge our support anytime, any day.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll start with Honorable Murtala Mohammed on the issue of culture of silence. President has denied superintending over culture of silence. Under what circumstances are some of you saying that the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is superintending over culture of silence in the country?
Well, good morning, good evening, and good evening to my brother, who has been chopping so much, the extent to which he may not be able to honor some of your invitations. And good evening to your cherished viewers.
Unfortunately, that is not the case. Actually, I didn't place the invitation. Sometimes he honors our invitation every time.
I understand the spirited attempt to defend the indefensible. He's who he is. And good evening to your cherished viewers, and of course the good people of Tamale Central. I think that we have all agreed as a people to charter the path of democracy. This country had independence in 1957. Long before we had independence, we had atrocities.
Come, you are doing 15 minutes for this very first part.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So how many minutes am I supposed to? 15 minutes?
Yes, 15 minutes.
I'm saying that long before we had independence, we have had some atrocities committed by those who engage in our body politics, directly or indirectly, against the decent, living of the Ghanaian people. And you can trace this to the tradition that the current president, belongs to. And it is very clear that we all agreed as a people to charter the path of democracy. We have had constitutions before. After we had independence, we got our first republic in 1960, where we were ruled by rules and regulations, governing the conduct of everybody, including the president, then the prime minister. This constitution was criminally and illegally truncated by the Buziad and tradition, today NPP. We had another constitution, a constitution which was indeed written just to serve the concocted interest of those who criminally and illegally overthrew Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's administration. Be it as it may, we had another democratic dispensation in 1969, after the truncated one in 1966. That one, unfortunately, was also truncated. Then we had another one in 1979, 1980, where we had Hilary and Co. But with all these experiences, we decided to charter the path of democracy. Democracy that was expected to last longer than the previous three democracies that we have had. And in 1992, His Excellency, former President Rawlings of blessed memory, gave birth, and the NDC, you can trace it to the PNDC, NDC gave birth to the democracy we have today.
Okay.
You may disagree with the fact that former President Rawlings had no option, because I have heard some of these arguments being made, that he had no option. I participated in a lecture delivered by Professor Ali Mazuri. Then I was in my first year at the University of Ghana, the Great Hall. And I remember it was a memorial lecture of Osajo for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Professor Ali Mazuri said something on that day. And I remember Professor Achille Kwasoya, one outstanding personality who served as guidance and inspiration to many of us who are engaged in politics. Professor Achille Kwasoya was the chair of the occasion. Professor Ali Mazuri said that Rawlings started as a dictator and ended a democrat. He said something about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, which even me myself, who is in and out in Nkrumah and who believes in the ideology of Nkrumah, disagree. And I remember Professor Ali Mazuri said that I disagree with that position, but we may have a different platform to discuss and debate on this issue. What I'm trying to say is that the democracy we have today, you can't insulate the contribution of the Rawlings factor. You may disagree with a lot of things Rawlings did, and you can't insulate with what the PNDC, NDC did with regards to the constitution we have. And haven't agreed to charter the path of democracy. We were giving up the Rawlings, who was the military leader at that time, and those who engaged in the PNDC and any other actor in this country were prepared to give up some of the authoritarian, decisions they could make and the powers they had. they were prepared to give up some of the freedoms that they had, that they could do anything without any question. They were prepared to give up those things and to be governed. Their conduct, their actions and everything to be regulated by rules and regulations set up by the Ghanaian people. That is what we call democracy.
Okay.
That there are rules and regulations governing the conduct of everybody, including the president. Unfortunately, when you look at how this our democracy has evolved, of course, when we started, there were certain things that people had challenges with. The reason why the democracy is supposed to evolve is that as time goes on, we get rid of certain things we considered not to be good and doing things that are considered to be right. Now, if someone did something in 1993, or let's say 1996, or even 2002, and then you repeat that today, and when they begin to ask you questions, you say that this thing happened in the previous administration. That is absolutely nonsense. And I say nonsense without any apology. That is nonsense to the democracy that is supposed to be evolving. Because we are supposed to be getting rid of certain aspects of our democracy, that certain aspects of our lives that we consider to be affront to the rules and regulations governing the conduct of everybody as time evolves. But if you tell me that this thing happened in the past and therefore it is justified for it to happen today, then you can only be described as something else. And that is
I don't think the president has said so.
No, I'm building a point.
Okay, that's all right.
Today, what we experience under this administration is worse than what we experienced even under military dictatorship.
What do you mean?
Look, everybody knows Kofi Jonah, Sam Jonah.
Sam Jonah.
That at a point in time, he was considered as somebody, at least it was rumored, as somebody who was going to contest for the MPP flag bearership. He's a known Buza Dankwa tradition. He's a known supporter of the NPP. And I shudder to think that he might have even financed the activities of the NPP. Because I remember,
do you have any evidence to support
when
that?
there was
those were rumors.
When they were that rumor, and in fact, some publications, in some of the newspapers, he never denied that. He never said that that was not true. And he never...
He also didn't confirm that?
I agree, but he never said that he was not an adherent of the NPP or a Buza Dankwa tradition.
Just like that, you cannot say that he is a member of the Dankwa.
He is not just a mean person in this country. He's somebody who has contributed significantly.
Okay.
And he has a stake as far as our democratic dispensation and the socio-economic development of this country is concerned. Be it as it may, this man says that there is culture of silence. At least even if he is not an NDC member. He is not a known person who belongs to NDC, and he has never belonged to NDC. Assuming without admitting that he neither belongs to NDC nor NPP, assuming without admitting that he has no links whatsoever with these two political parties, then we must respect his position and believe that this is a very sincere and honest position that he's taken. And that position is that there is absolute culture of silence.
The fact that he is Dr. Sam Jonah doesn't mean that whatever he says should be taken hook, line, and sinker.
I'm not saying what he says should be taken hook, line, and sinker. And I'm going to break it, unpack some of the issues that I have raised. He's just one of numerous people who neither belong to any political party. And I was establishing the fact that he has some links with the MPP. Why is it that he was never and has never been linked with the NDC at any point in time? Instead, he has once at least been linked with the NPP. And now this person is making a statement that is justified. Media in this country, the sad aspect of it is that the culture of silence is not just aided by it's not just done by Mr. Nanado. It is aided by a section of the Ghanaian media who are supposed to be the defenders of this democracy, contributing towards ensuring that this young democracy that we have, it is nurtured and nurtured very well. They themselves are those who are attacking even media who are critical of this government. And I can give you litany of examples. The culture of silence is not just limited to what I call as McCarthyism.
Which media houses are you referring to?
Media houses and journalists in this country who doesn't know that come out and speak against this government. You find your own journalists who will be attacking you. Don't speak as if you live in Kosomo, Kaya. Don't speak as if you don't live in a country where
I don't know.
Don't speak as if you don't.
You are a legend, and you must.
In this country, you have Kwekubaku, who is supposed to be a journalist, who is supposed to be a neutral arbiter, and in fact, who said that he is a CPP member. He defends the MPP than any other journalist. And he's not just a journalist. This is a journalist that we must all respect because of the long years of experience the Kwame Sifakans and others. Every little opportunity they get, they must defend this government. The multimedia journalists, you want me to mention names? I'm saying that they have demonstrated that repeatedly, that they must defend this government, whether this government is doing wrong or not. And the point is that that culture of silence that we all experience today, it is a culture of silence, unfortunately aided by those who are supposed to be protecting this democracy, those who are supposed to serve as mirror of our democracy, and they are not doing that. But let me give you another example.
Okay.
It is not just about intimidating people. We've seen what happened to Captain Smart, who stated publicly, unashamedly, that he's a member of the NPP. And he's indeed a member of the NPP. What happens to him? He stated publicly that the owners of his station called him and said that there is so much pressure on him. By who? By government. And that it even borders on taxes that they ought to be paying.
He also said that he was suspended because, according to the owners of the station, he had launched an attack on the president and the vice.
The issue is not just about that.
Assaulted the president and the vice.
Assault the president and the vice.
That's according to
the
media house.
Please, it's not about what the media house says. You and I all listened to him. We heard what he said. Was it an insult to the president? And I listened to the president, and I was shocked when he said that he is the most vilified president. That is utterly a lie, Mr. President. With all due respect, no president in this country has ever been vilified than President Mahama. No president. No president. How has he even been vilified? President Mahama was attacked. In fact, the very day President Mahama lost his mother, the very day, regardless the cultural norms and values, Manasseh Azure published a falsehood about President Mahama, which was paraded and masqueraded through the media by my good friend and his colleagues. The very day President Mahama lost his life. And in fact, the very day Prof. Mills died,
Mahama's mother
died. The very day Prof. Mills died, you had an MPP activist who were on TV and on radio stations without even knowing that President Mills was dead. They were vilifying and attacking that man. Yet this president comes to tell us that he is the most vilified president ever in the history of this country. Mr. President, with all due respect, you are lying. You are not the most vilified. There has never been any president who is more vilified, berated, and attacked under this constitution than President Mahama. That is a fact. Look, in any case,
okay.
I thought you gave me 15 minutes.
Let me to President Dankwa Akufo-Addo. There is culture of silence when people at midnight knock on the door of persons or artists of dissenting views and all of that. Under his dispensation, such a thing is not found. It will never be found in this country. Why then would anybody sit somewhere and paint a picture as though there's culture of silence?
In
actual fact, you sit here, air your views, criticize government, and nobody does anything
Ahmed
to you.
Saleh was barbarously murdered under his watch for committing what crime? Just doing his work as a journalist. You think that is not a clearest demonstration of the culture of silence? And he was not just murdered. You had a sitting member of parliament, an MPP, who brought his picture on his TV, his private TV, and urged the people of this country to hate him when they see him. That was what Kennedy Ajapon did. They hate him. When we meet him, deal with him. I'm not accusing Kennedy Ajapon for murdering the gentleman. But in a serious democracy, that gentleman would have been arrested and prosecuted as the first suspect because he used his TV station and brought the guy's picture, exposed an investigative journalist. Tell me, has this ever happened under any government in the Fourth Republic? Not even in the Fourth Republic, under this constitution. Tell me. Tell me. Yet the president comes to tell us that people's doors have not been knocked. Look, it is not only that. You have journalists who have been beaten. Just recently, Erastus Donko, is it the journalist?
Erastus Donko.
Yes. They went to investigate on Galamsey, on TV. They were manhandled by military officers. In this country, you had people who have been attacked, journalists who have been attacked for doing no crime, except that they are doing what they are supposed to be doing.
Attack on journalists has not started under President Akufo-Addo. Under President John Dramani Mahama, journalists were attacked and beaten in this country.
Do you know the reason?
Should that be termed as culture of silence under former President John Dramani Mahama?
I started this my contribution on this topic.
Okay.
By saying that if I begin to talk and you tell me that these things happened under the Fourth Republic, under this Fourth Republic, it happened under this government, that is why I describe as utter nonsense. And I said that I don't want to have any apology.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't put parity.
Please.
When it comes to
if
the
you want us
governance
to go
of
that way, a journalist was locked in President Kufuor's house. Should we go that way? I am saying that the democracy is evolving. We have a democracy that is evolving. And in a democracy where the conduct of everybody is governed by rules and regulations, the Constitution is the pillow that regulates the conduct of everybody, including the president. Now, if our democracy is supposed to be evolving, and then you have such that happen infractions in the past, and then you commit same crimes and say that, oh, after all, they happened under President Mahama, they happened under President Kufuor. Who are you? That is why our democracy is supposed to evolve. And I'm saying that in all these precedents, we have never had what happened to Ahmed Swali happen to any journalist in this country. As we sit today, nobody knows what happens. Erastus Danko is this Erastus Asari Danko. What happened to him? In this country, we have seen what happened to journalists. Joy FM, multimedia journalist, was beaten by the police. That gentleman is still sick. That happened. Apart from that, you had people who went to media houses to express their convictions on national issues and contribute to national debate. The NBC communication director, they went to a media house and arrested him. What did he do? What crime did he commit? What crime did he commit? So the president should serve, as you see, and I say this with all seriousness, that Nana Addo behaves not like a president.
You have 2 minutes to finish.
Not like a president, but more like an absolute monarch. Honestly, who thinks that he can govern by nothing but regal writ? He's not behaving like a democrat. That is how the president behaves. He thinks that he's so powerful, and the sad aspect of it is that this is a person who touts himself as a human rights lawyer. Yet there has never been abuses of people who rise under the Fourth Republican Constitution and under any government that we are experiencing today. There has never been abused. There has never. Look, just recently, there was a problem with regards to land, the La people and military. People were manhandled. People were beaten. I can give you a litany of examples where people are denied. Radio stations were closed down. Radio Gold, XYZ. There is no any justification. The thing that Radio Gold and XYZ were engaged in was the same thing they were engaged in under any government. This government, without any shame, closed down the radio stations. And the reasons they gave for the closure, the crimes they allegedly committed, there were other radio stations and media houses that committed same crimes. Same crimes, yet those media houses were not touched. This government is so intolerant that they cannot accept any dissenting views. Don't talk about the president because he's not a president, he's a monarch. And therefore you must not talk about him. If he wants to take away the president and call himself Nana, and we know that he's a Nana who is governing this country, he's so intolerant, his people are so intolerant. Look, have a media house that challenges the statu quo. Have a journalist who sits at any media house and raises issues about this government. The leadership and the owners of that media house will be warned. So President Nana Addo should give us a break.
Okay.
He is not the most vilified president under the Fourth Republican Constitution. As a matter of fact, he is the most tyrant. And I will repeat that he is not behaving like a president. He is behaving like a monarch who thinks that he can rule this country by regal writ.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable, for your submission. Viewers, you're still watching Hot News right here on Pan-African Television. With me, Justice Appiah. We are live on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, please share the Facebook live post for other people to also watch tonight's edition of the program. You can keep your messages coming in on our WhatsApp/text line. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can as well leave your suggestions, comments, and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll also read all those out for you. Now, let me come to Chairman Omarewa there on the issue of culture of silence. President has denied superintendent of culture of silence. There have been a lot of people who have raised, issues on this same thing the president has denied. One of those persons, you know, has to do with Dr. Sam Jonah. We all know him. You know, not just him. Some persons have also accused MPP of superintending over culture of silence. Is that the case under your watch, Chairman?
Thank you, and let me say good evening to our viewers and listeners. I don't know whether it's the same question that you're asking me that you asked my friend Mutela. And I don't know whether that is the answer, the answer to his submission. What was the answer to this question that you're asking me now? Because we're talking about alleged reintroduction of a culture of silence by the current president.
Yes.
Somebody has made that allegation. And listening to my brother made me remember something that happened to a friend some time ago. He had this girlfriend, and he was not handling the girl well. And at one point, he assaulted the girl, and even sacked her from the house. Now the girl goes out and gets a better man, and then he starts shouting. He starts crying, abusing the new husband, boyfriend or husband, and insulting anybody who would attempt to tell him, well, you could have kept him, and by your behavior, you allow the girl to go. Bitterness and envy is full in their minds and their hearts. And for that matter, anything that this government
in the
does,
minds and hearts of who?
The people who are suggesting the mutalas,
including Dr. Sam Jonah.
Since you are asking who, the closest I can see is my board-headed.
What about the person the president has responded to? Because this issue was actually raised by Dr. Sam Jonah, and as a result, the president responded to.
Somebody attempted to suggest that we're disrespecting Sam Jonah. That is not the case.
Okay.
He is a man of his own. I don't know his background, but I got to know of him when he was heading AG Ashanti Goldfield, which was sold to that company, and when we came, we just went to buy it back.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he was. I'm aware that he's not been staying in Ghana. He's been living in South Africa or so. So he doesn't know Mutala can speak his mind and go free, as he has just done today. He doesn't know Mutala can spew out anything he wants, and if you attempt to rebut, he tells you are suppressing or oppressing him. He doesn't know that. We're coming to the topic. Yes, Sam Jonah I think was at a breakfast meeting of the Lions Club or something, attempted to suggest that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is reintroducing the culture of silence, which most of us, including some media people, disagreed. Because what we hear today on most radio and TV stations, and the social media is even terrible. On social media is terrible. What we sometimes people, known people, what they spew out there. If it was any other government, if it was any other government, previous government that we used to know, people will not be alive. Because it did happen that journalists disappeared. People who attempted to demonstrate were killed. People who, yes.
When did those journalists disappear?
If you ask, I wouldn't go further. Ask Uncle Kwesi Pratt.
Okay.
How many of their colleagues then? What did he himself went through in an administration, past administration. He can be. I know now he has met well, I wouldn't say he has changed, but he has a soft spot for obvious reasons for some people. But for what he himself was subjected to in the past, he should be the last person to criticize anybody. But it is not his fault. I do understand him. Sometimes
how would you describe this situation? A situation where
people can speak their mind, and if you attempt to correct them, they tell you are suppressing them.
How were those people being corrected in the first place? Now, you are talking about people speaking their minds. Was Ahmed Swale corrected by being killed?
By who?
We don't know.
So, how do you then suggest that Akufo-Addo has reintroduced?
Was Manasseh Azuri being corrected when he received a lot of threats after?
From whom?
And
government?
He had to run for his life. And
from government? Officially from government? Or from government officers?
Adeti, who is also a colleague, a journalist, had to receive beatings. His house was ransacked.
By who?
After, an expose.
By who?
The question is, was he being corrected? Are those things what you are referring to as corrections?
No. By who? I'm not talking about somebody being killed or assaulted for some other reasons that you and I may not know.
So my own colleague at CT, what's the name? Caleb Kuda. Was he being corrected?
But why are you not mentioning Appiah? Joy. Why are you not mentioning? You've gone round. Appiah is the most recent. Well, Kuda's
most recent. Kuda was just.
What about Appiah? You remember Appiah?
Appiah Wilson, he's my friend.
And what happened to him? Can you remind us?
What happened to Appiah?
Yes.
I'm asking you, what happened to Appiah?
You know what happened to him. He says he's your friend. And you know what happened to him recently. He had gone to an NDC program, and I don't know, only God knows why.
You mean when he was slapped by President Mahama's bodyguard?
You remember that? That's what I'm talking about. Was that sanctioned by Akufo-Addo?
That wasn't recent.
Was that sanctioned by Akufo-Addo? And this one came before Swale. But you are mentioning Swale and leaving Appiah out. Oh, you don't like your friend. Or you don't see him as a...
He's a brother.
You don't see him as a journalist.
He's even watching.
You don't see him as a journalist?
Appiah is one of the finest reporters.
And he has been slapped. You say that one is cool. Because it was not done by government. Can you tell me, of all things that you said, can you tell me any that was committed by a government official? Or sanctioned by government?
Yes.
No.
I can tell you when it comes.
Yeah.
Very well. I'll give you the opportunity to respond.
Don't you remember? Just he knows that me and him, when I'm talking, he doesn't speak. When he is speaking, now he wants to reintroduce.
No, I'm saying that you asked. I said I will provide litany of examples where government officials involved in the abuse of the rights of.
So is that part of my?
We were in this country when people wanted to demonstrate against government. And the state security was used in preventing such persons from demonstrating and all of that.
Somebody, they go to, the law is clear. If you want to demonstrate, go to police. They went to the police told them, this thing that you are going to do, by current law, you cannot have more than 25 people congregating anywhere. And then you say police, or government, or Akufo-Addo, or MPP, stop them. That's not being fair.
What's your definition of correction of persons who have criticized government?
Just like my brother here alluded to, well, I wouldn't say he lied, but attempted to suggest that Akufo-Addo has reintroduced culture of silence. And if I come to tell you it's not true, he says I'm suppressing his views.
I haven't told you that. I haven't said
that is why you then what again do you refer to as suppress culture of silence? What again do you mean by culture of silence? That people cannot speak their minds, and if you speak their mind, you are killed or you are arrested by the state agencies. But that has never happened. I don't know whether somebody is confused or I am confused. But for the culture of silence that we knew and that we know is where you are not allowed to speak. But today, on, like I was saying, all media platforms, social, print, TV, radio, just listen to. There's one radio I wouldn't even
attempt to
that today somebody can even sit on radio or on TV and attempt to cursed president. Hey, who burned off for those days? I wouldn't say well, I'm sorry, I nearly slept. That you will go and make this statement?
Who cares the president?
Oh, haven't you read? Say, hey, that one. I don't know the guy's name. I don't know him from. I don't know him. I don't know his name. But on a radio, also on a TV station, that he cursed the president if he sits in an aircraft, he should die. Just recently, it's just less than a week ago.
Oh, I read that story. Okay, that's all right.
Less than a week ago. And then when another journalist attempt to tell him, no, this is not journalism, change your style, they will come and sit here and come and say, and he was just mentioning names. He preferred that people will be doing that, and that is freedom of speech. But freedom of speech without common sense is what caused Rwanda, the genocide in Rwanda. I mean, we can continue. Freedom of speech without common sense. Acts. You know, Mali recently came here and they've been sacked from even ECOWAS. You know why? A group came together like they attempted to do with what are they calling it? Fix themselves. Fix themselves. Those who said they won't fix themselves. What is it?
Fix the country.
Fix the country. They attempted to create a group, and they said they were going to demonstrate. You remember? And they said they were going to demonstrate. That is how Mali's situation started. so-called CSOs came together, hid behind some opposing political parties, and started demonstrating in Mali, creating, inciting people. Like I heard a teacher in Northern Region recently on radio, on TV, inciting teachers that he wants to be the regional director of NAT teachers. That's the name. NAT.
Is it NAT or NAGRAD? Because NAT. Okay.
He wants to be the regional chairman, the person in charge, the regional chairman of the North. And I believe he knows him. Look at how he's looking at me. Because that he should be given the opportunity to go and cause chaos. He wants to organize them, and then that they are going to demonstrate, and they are going to make the country ungovernable. Teacher, come on, teacher. And that's what he says is governance, a freedom. Where do you go and create confusions where there are no confusions? Where you go and create problems where there are no problems? That is what they believe. And then you heard him mentioning host of certain programs, names, suggesting that radio stations are supporting government. So radio stations, when government does good, you should say it's bad. When government does good, you should say it's bad. Today, some radio stations have taken upon themselves to tell the whole world that free SHS is not good, but SHS is good for only the rich people. That? You know it. You know it.
I don't know unless you tell our viewers.
Did you monitor the multimedia platforms?
Which of the platforms?
Which ended up with Visual Radio, where the former chancellor of UGCC attempted to suggest that the people who wrote the exams passed because Akufo-Addo gave them a PO. Come on. A professor, attempting to I couldn't think of why a woman, a lady, a professor, who believes or wants to portray that he cares about children, should go on radio, on TV, public, and attempt to suggest that these children passed because they didn't learn, but Akufo-Addo gave them a PO. Come on.
Did she?
And if you attempt to, that's what he said. And if you attempt to correct, they say you are trying to suppress their views. You are trying to suppress their thinking. Okay,
so Captain Smart, who was with Angel recently, also accused government of being behind the reason why he was suspended from Angel. That there were some unseen hands who were mounting pressure on owners of the company to lay him off purposely because he was very critical on government.
If you want, we can bet
that's
on this set.
That's a sign of cultural silence.
I'll put my remember who bet for the speaker? May I put my phone? Bring your phone. Attempt on this platform. start insulting Mahama and the people, you will not be here.
Why?
Why?
Okay, if we are, let's bet. Next week, let's commission you. Start insulting Mahama.
Why am I saying so?
I doubt why you are saying so, because on Pan-African television, we criticize everybody without fear or favor.
You go and insult. He insulted. He insulted the vice president. He insulted the president.
What were the insults?
And then the owner thinks, no, my brother, my employee, was he? My brother, you cannot do that. He says, me, I can speak my mind. Then he said, on my platform, in my studio, I have made that investment. If people refuse to do adverts, if people refuse to watch, I will lose. You will speak your mind and go, I will lose. So go and sit home, reframe and reflect on what you have been doing. If you like, come back. Then you go out and say, the man is saying that the MP people say, the government is giving him pressure. Who is who? Is it a president? Information minister?
But the radio station in itself, owners of the company, admitted that there were pressure emanating from the president.
Do you know where the president was coming from? Not the presidency. The man's daughter is a member of MPP member of parliament. And you think if your father, owns a TV station like this, and then he employs somebody and come to insult, what do you say there? At least from nowhere, you should know that. At least
tell us what the insults were.
I am telling you. Why didn't you ask him?
Who?
Why didn't you ask the captain?
He says he did not insult the president or the vice.
Well, I saw a video.
And what did the video say?
I can't repeat that, unless of course you want me to also insult. You know that if somebody insults the chiefs and you go and repeat it to the chief, you have rather insulted the person. Unless of course you want to put me there, which I won't sit. That on that chair I will not sit. But the truth is, if you are watching me and you believe that there is something called culture of silence, and you do understand that those words put together, and you say it is happening to us in this country now, then your analytical or there's something wrong somewhere. Because on every day that you open, unless of course you want to listen to the gospel radio or TV stations, but every morning, every afternoon, evenings, late night, listen and monitor. Exchange of words on platforms, exchange of on it's everywhere. And nobody, I have not heard anybody attempt to suggest that officially government Kufuor's government has sanctioned. Even the president he's just telling you that if anybody will do it, it's not him. And they say, why should you do that? And that you are a liar. And that you are not the only one who has been insulted. And somebody has been insulted more than you on this platform. Somebody suggested.
A journalist has been killed in this country without knowing who perpetrated that.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Wait a minute.
Don't say a journalist has been killed. Don't say a journalist has been killed. Then you don't respect the former GJA president in Kumasi. Then you don't respect. Don't say a journalist. Journalist. I mean, let's not limit to who we like. And then when we try to correct you, tell us we are suppressing you. Then it's okay. Is he the only person? Is he the only life that matters to you? Is it the only journalist life that matters to you? You see, let's not limit it, else we will be looking at the wrong side.
Okay.
I am telling you, if you really believe and trust that the nation should move forward, then we must find holistic answers to these issues as and when they come. And let's not limit. He is saying that somebody has done something and he was arrested. Somebody did a radio station was shut down, but a different radio station has said. This is the same case that went to court lately, that somebody has stolen a goat and then he got 2 years. The same goat, the court gave the other person 5 years, and he come to say, I have been punished more. So why you should? It is at the discretion of the court.
Now,
and in this country, The law says he knows it. He is in parliament, so I don't even need to teach him. He should be teaching us.
Before I come to honorable,
he should be telling us now. Yes, he can. It is at the discretion of whoever is.
People have advanced, certain arguments that it was only under the watch of President Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP administration that we've seen radio stations that are critical on government collapsed. You can talk of XYZ and that of Radio Gold. The excuses that have been given as to why...
What is the Nana Agrade's radio
stations?
What is the Nana Agrade's radio? Was it a radio or TV?
A TV station.
It was a TV station. Was the Gold better than Agrada? And you keep limiting and attempting to suggest that it's only radio stations that insult government that were being attacked. Nana Agrada, I've never, but I don't see her. I've never heard that him.
So I was about to ask you that.
So that's what I'm saying. Let's not limit it.
All these things put together, did they not suggest that there is some sort of...
Agrada can go off. That one nobody can talk. But if Radio God does wrong and he is punished, we should hold government responsible. What kind of logic? What kind of selective justice?
There have been allegations that the infractions broken by some of those radio stations and TV stations you're talking about, there are radio stations and TV stations affiliated to your government that are still in operation. They have not been closed.
Which one is that? Mention.
Well, those allegations people are leveled.
And then you don't ask them. You want me to come and answer. I mean, you are making an allegation, and then I ask you which one. You say you don't know, but I should answer.
I'm saying not being fair to allegations.
You're not being fair to government of Ghana. You're not being fair to me either. You are saying that Oman FM, that's what? Oh, was not paying. They have not paid. They owe their TV. No. I've not done. You did 80. I didn't talk. I've just done 11. Look at it. And then you were coming. And even with my 11, you spent about 3.
You have about 4 minutes to step down.
So don't attempt, and I don't think Japan will be happy with you tomorrow when he says you in Parliament that you are so telling him he owes.
You think I'm like you people who fear him?
But I know you don't fear.
I don't fear.
I remember what you did to Mahama.
What did I do to Mahama?
Oh, you want me to repeat it here?
No, tell me.
He's laughing at you.
Chairman, go ahead.
Yes, I remember the Tamale incident. Don't worry. So,
are you sure?
Chairman, can you go ahead?
It's all right.
Chairman, go ahead.
He can insult me.
You have to step.
You said
he can insult me. I don't tell him. I repeat him. He says I'm attacking or harassing him. No problem. I leave that to viewers. Can you step down for me in 3 minutes? So I am saying that there's nothing like culture of silence. I have never seen the ordinary Ghanaian walking on the street attempting, being beaten or assaulted for walking or for doing they are right. I have never seen. So if some video
circulating recently where national security has ransacked the premises of one company and all of that.
Those are the Chinese who are doing illegal business. And then, you see, if we like, we can go that way. Then we can task national security, keep quiet. We can recall the soldiers, leave the river bodies, leave them to mess us all up. Police officer, when you see a taxi driver driving taxi truck or Okada crossing the red line, we can do that. And let's see what kind of state we'll be building. You see, if you as journalists and I as we as politicians, if we don't team up and fix this problem and attempt to always hype or highlight and suggest that government is government, it will get to a time, like it did happen and it's happening in Mali, that you cannot come out. Somebody will come and sit and say, go and sleep at 5 p.m. And you have to run home and sleep. You see, I don't know, well, because Corona people don't travel. He has been traveling. He knows what happens even across our border. Go to Togo, go to Abidjan, go to Burkina Faso, and look at how things are happening. Don't go, even in the US. You can't do anything and go like that. But over here, you can just buy your some fine, go and sit on the river and start messing everybody up. You can go to any forest bush, just start digging, and then when government get up and say, come on, you can't do that, then we get people standing up and say, come vote for us. If you vote for us, we will let you go back to any field you want. And if you think that is what we need as a nation, that's how we can fix our nation, let's go back, let's go ahead. All right. But to me, I believe that systems and structures, rule of law, everything should work. And when you are the leader or the MD of a company, I mean, you be responsible. Like we heard today. Was it yesterday or today? This week, somewhere. This week. Ambulance loading cement. I don't know. I have never seen a dead cement before or a sick cement. But this ambulance that we have they've spent money. They passed I don't know whether a loan or government GOG funded. And you use these machines to go and cut cement, and when you are called, you say the car is at the workshop and that it is not in your possession again. So who should be responsible for the car that has been purchased for you and sent to, and you have sent to the workshop? And if it was your car, if it's your vehicle, and you send to a mechanic, and you see the mechanic using your car, to load cement, you say, oh, the car is not in my position again, it's with the mechanic. So that one, you have no hand in it. You see, we have to be responsible. Okay. We must take our destiny in our own hands, and then we can all succeed. But this attitude of attempting to always suggest that somebody is harassing, if somebody is attacking or releasing, it's not going to help anybody.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman, for your submission. Let me come to you, Comrade, for your reactions.
I knew that my friend was going to arrive with his double version of everything. I knew. And I'm not surprised that he is on that tangent. In the first place, you should not even be the candidate to talk on some of these issues.
Why?
This same gentleman, this my honorable good friend, unethically brought a picture, a porno picture of a man with a woman and said it was President Muhammad. You.
And what happened to me?
You. And what happened to me? Please.
And what did Muhammad's government do?
Let me make my point.
Yeah, that's a question.
What did they let me make my point.
Okay.
Let me make my point.
I was coming from London.
Please.
Go to the airport. On the tarmac, I was quick like Osama bin Laden arriving. And nobody knew where I was until after. You know it. So I'll give you an opportunity to respond. And you are coming now to tell me that we are introducing. And even that was not me who did that.
Please,
I'll give you an opportunity to respond. Come and go ahead.
This gentleman, we should be the last person who will talk about some of these things.
Was I the one who did it?
You posted the picture on your page. You did it. You masterminded it. You didn't get it anywhere. You masterminded it, and you've been doing that. Now, when he did that, he didn't stop there. They went to town with such wicked fabrications.
That?
Has anybody done that to Mr. Nanado? And you sit here and telling me that the president is not lying. Please.
Somebody please. And it comes out and you say it's good.
Please.
And later you come to say, that's it to government.
Chairman, I'll give you the opportunity to respond. So, come and you can go ahead.
He brought it. You know,
it's a case of a Gamalis that I haven't even spoken about Ford. I'm talking about the unethical thing you did when you sat there at your MPP office and then you brought a picture. A man doing an immoral act with a woman, you brought it and brought President Mohammed's head on it. Don't you feel ashamed that you sit here and you are talking about some of these things? You should be the last person who should be talking about.
I was arrested for that. Wasn't I who did
it? And if this thing had happened under this
I was arrested for that.
If it has happened under this government, they would have killed him like they killed Ahmed Swali. Please, but let me make my point. Ajia Fati, your woman who all of you fear at the MP.
Your mother. Say that my mother.
She's certainly not my mother.
Okay, your friend.
And I don't think that my mother would behave that way.
Hey.
No, I don't think so.
Who's your friend?
No, please.
Have you met her before?
Please. I have never met her and I don't wish and I don't pray I meet her. Okay. I'm saying that that woman, a journalist was beaten. You were defending it. You were justifying the beating of that journalist.
Who's that journalist?
A journalist who went to the MPP headquarters. You know what the woman said?
Yeah, the lady.
She was beaten, and you sat on radio justifying the beating.
When?
Oh, you can't even remember the things you did. And again, when we talk about the issue of the right to speak, and then the fact that there is culture of silence that we experience, I knew that he was going to go to talk about. Then I said, Uncle Kwesi Pratt and Co. Did it happen under this democracy? It's something that all of us must condemn.
Under your party?
I'm saying that, we need to go there. You guys brought dead bodies and put them in the fridges at the Flagstaff House and said that Nkrumah was sacrificing human beings. Don't go there. If you don't have an appreciation, who brought your party, your Wizard Danko tradition, who taught the people of this country how to rule by the barrel of the gun. And I'm saying that after you unjustifiably overthrew Nkrumah, you brought dead bodies, you kept them in the fridges at the Flagstaff House. You want us to go there? So the
Flagstaff House was built by the Danko Viziers.
I'm saying that.
Is that why you started
trying you don't even listen. After you unjustifiably and criminally overthrew Nkrumah, to justify the allegations, those wicked allegations you made against Nkrumah, that's what you did. You don't even feel ashamed. You put bombs into a bouquet of flowers to a little girl to kill Nkrumah. That little girl is a woman now who is struggling. That is your history.
Ask question.
That is the history. You see, in this country,
no, it was
please.
It was never.
Please.
Go get your history right.
Nanado was a CP. Nanado started. Let me remind you. Nanado started put a human being in cages, and they paraded the man on the street of Accra. You don't know this. If you want us to go there,
so this is what we call the culture of silence. That we can make all these wild allegations and say we are being. And when we are corrected, you say we are attacking media.
These are historical facts. These are facts, undeniable facts. If you are uncomfortable with them, that is your case. I made reference to that because I said, look, our democracy is evolving. And that is why I didn't need to talk about what happened in President Kufuor's house. It doesn't help anybody. We have agreed to charter the path of democracy. You see, I took the pains to talk about this, our democracy, because I knew he was going to do this. The democracy is supposed to be evolving. So when we started this fourth Republican Constitution in 1992, 1993, we were expecting that some of the reminiscences, some of the things that happened under military dictatorship, we should get rid of them. Of course, our democracy was young. So if there was an infraction, an abuse of the fundamental rights of people in 1993, and someone does that in 2000 and says that it happened in 1993, did we go or did we come? And that is why I said, we should not be doing that. This democracy is evolving. Now, what we are experiencing under this government is the worst form of what happened under military dictatorship. As a matter of fact, not a single person, not a journalist was barbarously murdered in this country because he was doing his work. And why I made the statement with regards to Kennedy and Japan. And like I said, I didn't accuse him. I only said he exposed the gentleman and said people should hate him when they meet him. And I'm saying a serious democracy, that man would have been the first suspect. Nothing happened to him because all of you fear him.
Including you.
All of you, I don't fear him. The only being I fear is Allah. I made that statement on the floor when he was seated. If you do not know, I am saying that what can he do? If he jokes, I will beat the hell out of him. I am telling you. Don't even go there. Please. I am saying that.
No, if someone reports this to him, he will not.
Record it and go and tell him, and I wish he's watching.
That you beat him.
I will beat the hell out of him. I am saying that what he did, he exposed the gentleman. So if you are making references to the things that happened, despicable and condemnable as those acts may be, perpetrated by military leaders or leaders of any country, our democracy is supposed to be evolving. Whatever happened, like the locking of the journalists and President Kufuor's house, didn't happen under military dictatorship. It happened under a democracy. But I don't need to go talk about them because our democracy is supposed to be evolving. So if crimes that were committed before 1992, or even committed in the early days of this or democratic dispensation, there can't be any justification why those crimes should be committed today. And that is the point we are making. There can't be any justification. Now, if you come and you tell me that there is no culture of silence. And I'll give you a litany of examples. Those who went to City TV, they were journalists. That was a media house. They were sent there by the national security. Is the national security being insulated from the organ of the state?
So was that Kufuor sanctioned?
No. Oh, so he's not in control of the national security? Is that what you're suggesting?
But do you know what happened?
Come on, be stepping down for me.
What happens?
Be stepping down for me.
Are you saying Kufuor is the president of Ghana? So all that you are saying should be.
I don't care.
What you are saying tonight should be. Kufuor should be held responsible for what you are doing.
I don't care what
you are saying.
He's supposed to have control over them. In this country, you have your own regional security coordinator who was beaten to pulp. Your own regional security coordinator who was beaten to pulp by terror group trained and financed by Mr. Nanado.
We will not see anything
like
this under Mahama.
I'm saying
step down for me in 2 minutes.
It has never happened. Please.
Yeah, I said look at your word in Kumas. I said
it has never happened. You don't remember that word, please. In this
I'll give you a time to respond. Come and step down for me in 2 minutes.
In this country, you had a police officer who was beaten at no place than the seat of government at the Flagstaff House by terror groups who were trained, financed, and are still being financed by this government.
Okay.
The president and the government was not interested in those who beat Nanka Bruce. They were interested in the person who took the video.
I thought we were going to talk about
they were interested in the person
what happened in Parliament.
They were in fact, Parliament, they listed about it, the better. Even in Parliament, he's reminding me, he's giving me a lot of weapons. you have an arm of government. And in fact, the most important arm in the democracy is the legislative arm, not even the judiciary.
And what happened there?
You can have a government without Parliament, but you cannot have a democracy without Parliament. We have agreed to charter the path of democracy. And under this same democratic dispensation, you had a government who sent military and police.
Who was the president then? When that will happen, who was the president?
It was President Nanado.
Was he a president?
Yes, he was.
My brother.
Yeah, he was.
Can you step down?
No, I said he was.
Can you step down? You see, we have to do our time
until that president is sworn in.
There's no president.
Hold on. Oh, please. I say until a new president is sworn in. Granted that there isn't any president.
Was the chief justice?
I say granted.
So
that,
the chief justice
hold on. Granted that there isn't a president. Granted there is no any president. Now that you have the power, what have you done?
We are still waiting for Parliament report.
The very people who brought those people have been appointed as ministers. The very people who brought those people have been appointed as ministers. Then you sit here.
It is the Speaker of Parliament and people like you who should bring us the report.
Chairman, can you allow him to land so I can come to you?
And then we will.
Chairman,
you have not done that. I want the people to investigate.
Chairman, I'm coming to you. Let him land so I can come to you.
I'm saying that those
can you land for
the first time under this sun, I stand to be corrected. But as far as I'm concerned in Ghana, we have never had a party terror group masquerading as national security operatives who walk into a court of competent jurisdiction to free another terrorist who were being tried, who were being prosecuted by a court of competent jurisdiction. The only country is in Nanado's monarchy. That is where we are experiencing.
All right, comrade. Thank you so much. Your time is up.
Somebody killed Supreme Court judges.
I'll put you give me 6 minutes. Can you take us home?
Yes. A party professing to be the angels of Ghana had 3 Supreme Court judges killed.
Who killed them?
Ask yourself.
Tell me.
You were empowered then. You were okay. If you were not part then, at least you can tell us what happened. That made 3 judges. 3 judges.
Who killed them?
Not judges. 3 Supreme Court judges.
Who killed them?
Including one who breastfeeding a lady.
Who killed them?
And then you are following that. You are proud.
Be courageous.
Let me proceed. Since I'm not here to answer your questions, because if I attempt to answer, you say I am attacking you and your media.
Oh, I haven't said that. I haven't said that.
Have you seen officially sanctioned media house being attacked?
Yes, Radio Gold, Radio XYZ.
So when a radio station, when a media house owes government, and that media house belongs to the opposition, it should not be touched.
So you must go with armed military men. Is that are we living in Kosomokaya?
when
you must go with armed military men.
when we were talking, I was quiet.
Chairman, kindly take us
When
home.
orders are given and you refuse to shut down, what happens? When persuasive fails, force is applied. Is that not the law?
So you use military.
Supreme Court or a court gives order, or an institutional body which is mandated to make sure you don't break unwholesome drugs here, and you smuggle, and you say they should come and beg you to close down, to stop. No.
Which court? Which court?
That's what I'm saying. Who shut Radio Good?
It's Nanado.
Okay, we hear. The listeners and viewers know that it was an institution set up by you. I've not been a parliamentarian. You are in parliament. That went ahead to enforce their ruling. It is not government, not Kufuor. Unless, of course, you wanted the Kufuor to intervene.
I never knew Nado is not in charge. I can understand why we are in a mess in which we are.
Okay.
He's certainly not in charge.
Tomorrow, I'll tell him and that he should come to Parliament and to show that he is in charge. Order the Speaker of Parliament to bring the report that happened on that night. Before. Oh, you were not part of the gangsters.
Since he can send military,
you were not part of. So you can.
He can send military into the chamber. I believe that there's nothing that should surprise me. Mr. Nanado, in fact, he does wonders.
When he's speaking, he wants me to shut. All right. But when I am talking, he can come in, because if he is speaking and I come in, I'll be harassing. I'll be harassing him, and that when he is speaking,
please allow Chairman.
But when I am speaking,
to flow and come down for us.
And when I say, when I attempt to tell him to keep quiet, he say, I am. What word will you use? What words have you been using? I'm intolerant. But and then when the Kufuor do that same, you see, and I don't know. Me, I prefer like the last part of this.
I was
thinking we're going to find solutions.
Very well. And I'm just about to ask you,
how is happening? Like he's suggesting that some journalists were killed, murdered under males under Mahama, under Kufuor, under what should we do? This is what we should be looking at. People are not paying their TV license, and their TVs are shut down, and then the institution goes in to shut them. What should we do? You are saying that somebody is doing this is here. National security breach, Chinese crime rate in Asakrekwa. That's why we're talking about that also. So what do we do? Should we leave them to do what they are doing? Let's debate that. But attempt to suggest, oh, you did worse, I did worse, you were the worst. That's what we have done tonight.
You are the one doing.
No, now you have just about 2 minutes for us to go. The question is, how do we put an end to some of these things that people are suggesting that have amounted to, culture of
let's
silence?
Be realistic. Let's be nationalistic. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe in our country. Let's believe that things can go well. The situation where we all sit down, we agree, Galamsey is not good, people are messing up our waters, let's go and stop them. Government takes a step and say, why are you, and people will gang up again behind and start attacking government. Why are you doing that? You are insensitive. You see, those things don't help. When it's right, let's all follow and say it's right to the latter. But when it is wrong, let's all agree, admit and say this thing is wrong. We can do better and prescribe proper, better solutions. But you don't just throw it out there, spew it and let everybody and expect. You see, like it's happening. Somebody goes to tell the whole world that a Kufuor flew in a rented or hired an aircraft and this is the cost. And then you come and answer. Come on, what is that?
All right.
You see, if you know the fact, if you believe it, you don't come out. You should have gone in there knowing you are a member of parliament, knowing what you can do with your powers, taking action. But if you come and spew these lies out there, and then later recoil and say, I'm going to, what do they call that? Urgent answer, whatever. What? Then that government should come and answer. Answer what? You have put the answer there and say government should come and answer.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Chairman. I'm so grateful for your time. I'm grateful for your time, comrade. Let's go.
If a member of parliament deems it fit to ask the president to come and answer, you don't tell me that the answers are already there. It is within the laws. It is within our laws that a member of parliament.
You can tell the answers out there and then go back to parliament and call the president and answer the answer you have already answered.
Denying the fact.
You come and tell the whole nation the answers that
people do not know how.
Then what you are providing false.
Are you denying the fact that people do not know how the plane charges? And the number
and then go on the internet and take pictures and suggest that this is the president.
Okay.
The president are you telling me the president cannot in his house sleep on a comfortable bed, but he can only sleep better in a flying plane? That does not reflect a plane that has bed to sleep in, to chill.
That is the whole reason why the president must come.
If you want to enjoy, you don't go flying in the car in the sky. We don't have how to fly this. Then you can get the cruise control. If you go to the Adan, the vessels that you have found, you have packed them. Then just go there and cruise inside.
Thank you so much, Emma, for Thank you so much. But I want you to do something for me. Respectfully, I want you to do something for me before I go. I mean, you made a statement that you beat an honorable member of parliament who happens to be your colleague.
No, I didn't say
with all due respect.
Oh no, that was just a light for me. No, that was just a light. I mean, of course, he's my very good friend.
Okay.
Kennedy at Japan is my very good friend. It was just in response to him when he said that if I go to him and say that, I said I will be there.
Like
hold on. I don't get angry. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that.
Can we just retract that? I said what? Thank you.
That's on a lighter note. Please, that statement was just in response to when he said that.
Okay.
If I say it and I go there, I should get closer to him. I get what I'm saying. I mean, certainly, people who know me, I talk, I don't fight.
I know. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful for that. I don't fight. Thank you so much, Chairman.
But on this night, your mouth will be gone.
All right, thank you so much, Emma, for coming. Thank you so much, comrade. I'm so grateful for your time. This is what time will allow us on the program. Make a time with us same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Appiah. The show has been hot news. Those of you who sent in your messages, unfortunately, I've been unable to read all the messages. A lot of messages here, actually, but we don't have time to read them. Also, there are some messages on Facebook. I'll be unable to read those ones too. We've spent our time on the show tonight. Make a time with us once again.
I'm going to.
Okay.